Okay, ready whenever you guys are.
Okay, please rise for the pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for the prayer. Grant us, O Lord, light in our understanding, prudence in our investigating, foresight in our planning, sincerity in our deliberating, the grace to follow truth in our judgment. Help us to be moved in our decision, neither by fear nor by self-interest, but to do our work faithfully. May we respect the authority vested in us, for thou art the source of all authority, and we may do it and use it in our directives for the common good, for thy honor and glory. Amen. Call to order. Roll call, please.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Here.
Mr. Cronin?
Here.
Mrs. Mara?
Here.
Ms. Sharma?
Here.
Dr. Sharma?
Present.
Mrs. Seba? Oh, Mrs. Seba? Sorry, we can't hear you. But I know you're present, so I'm working present.
Okay, thank you. I just want to start out first. We had a notice today by Republic Services. They will be delaying the pickup for one day because of the snow. So basically, instead of Friday, it'll be Saturday to put your rubbish out. Another thing, if anyone has any questions for our solicitor, if they can please direct it to myself, the mayor, or any council member if you have a question for the solicitor, and then we will relay that message on to you. I'd appreciate that. Okay, first thing in order, the meeting minutes from the regular meeting on January 19th. Are there any corrections, please?
Looks good.
Okay, I have one correction regarding to the invoice that was voided from CT Consultants. The reason why it was voided is because they did agree that that was supposed to be included in their retainer. And yes, I did tell them, I said, well, unless we have it approved, I'll end up probably having to pay for it. But again, they did credit those back to us because of the fact that it was supposed to be included under the retainer. And I have no more corrections. Thank you.
I'll
Is
make
there anything?
the correction in the minutes for this time, but just in the future, whatever you guys say is what I type up. So if there's any corrections that need to be made, it would be better to do it during the live meeting, if possible, only because when I make the corrections in the future minutes, I don't know if those necessarily go in the prior minutes. And I think that if I remember correctly, Joanne had said that all of the minutes are given to the auditors to review. So I just want to make sure that it reflects exactly what's the factual information.
Okay, well, thank you.
Of course, no problem. But I'll definitely put it in this one.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the January 19th minutes,
So
please?
we need a motion to approve the January 19, 2021 meetings as amended.
I make a motion to approve that as amended.
I second the motion to approve as amended.
Okay, perfect. Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Mrs. Seba.
Aye.
Oh, we can hear you. Good
Oh,
job.
you can?
Yeah.
Yay. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Next in order, the work session council meeting minutes
Wrong
from
video.
February 9th. Do we have a motion to approve, please? Or any corrections, I'm sorry. Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
Falkenberg makes a motion.
A second.
Okay, great. Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Mrs. Seba.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to the legislation. Resolution number 2020-29, third reading. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into an agreement with CT Consultants to provide for professional engineering advice, consultation, assistance, and services to the village, establishing the terms and conditions of same and declaring an emergency. Any questions?
How long is this contract for?
I believe Jeremy revised it for 1 year.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
it's for 1 year.
Any other questions or comments?
When are their services with that? Help me out, Joanne, with that, what we actually have going on with them. When do their services actually be completed this year? Do you know?
The NOPEC, the OPWC.
Yeah, that's it.
When we go out to bid, that could be, I don't know when we're looking at putting that out to bid. I don't know if that could be like even in July, June, July. September, we could be done.
So if we have this agreement for the year, are we able to revisit this when we're done with their completion, or are we obligated to them for the entire year? I just think that our spending with this company is becoming exuberant. That's why I'm questioning it.
Well, they provided us last year with a lot more in services than the $3,000 retainer that they charged us. Again, I know we use them for more than just the NOPEC. We use them on all our sewers. We'll be needing them. We have that grant for the catch basins replacement. We'll be using them on that. And there's a couple other grants, I believe, that are going to be coming up this year also that we want them to look into. So it'll be ongoing services.
Yeah, and at what price? So again, I just think I just am concerned about the expenditure. In all fairness, it's one of the most expensive services that we use in the village, and I just have concerns about it.
And the NOPEC grant, they really don't have to do anything. The NOPEC grant, I can do that one right online if we're just doing electrical.
And can I just,
Jeremy or Jason can answer the contract thing, so.
Yeah, the contract's a 1-year contract, so it would run through the whole year for that retainer.
Well,
And then we wouldn't have to renew it next year.
it does have a termination clause, so either party to it can terminate it with notice to the other, written notice to the other, and then a termination would occur 90 days after that notice.
Also, we have two more items that they need to take care of for us. One is this from the Census Bureau about the boundaries. That's one. And then the other one is about FEMA documents. So we need to submit that and respond to those also. So those are two more things that they will be doing for us service-wise.
And all of that falls under their retainer. We have no other added costs on top of it.
No, that's correct.
I just think it's something after closer to the end of the year, we should definitely revisit. And especially as long as we know at this point, we shouldn't have any other cost factors with CT Consultants.
Well, I mean, I'll make sure I make clear to them that if we do meet our limit retainer, that we are notified, so then we can adjust accordingly then.
Okay, works for me.
But what the OPWC is outside the retainer.
I thought I received an email that he was going to cover that.
That's included in the OPWC grant paperwork.
So what's the cost factor on that, Joanne?
Let me see if I can find it. I don't. Let's see here. I have to get that to you. I don't have it real handy right here.
Okay, I appreciate that. And John, if you could verify that that's going to be a covered item, but if it's in that paperwork, I still think it's something we need to discuss
Okay.
beyond those retainers of.
Yeah, we'll find it for you.
I think she's just going to get that to me, John. We can move on.
Okay. Well, then, we're gonna hold off then on approving this, or do we approve it as, when we verify the, for the OPWC? I mean, we need an engineer, so either way, I mean, there's some things that I know there's some deadlines due that he needs to get some information in for the survey and the census and so forth, and FEMA doc, but,
Is this something that if we decide not to approve it tonight, that we can approve it in our special meeting, or no? Would it have to wait till next council meeting?
no, personally, I think we should approve it, and then again, we can always terminate the contract. So in 2 months from now, we want to get rid of them, we just call it off. I mean, I think at this point, but right now, we do need their services. There are some pending issues that need to be taken care of, so.
Yeah, I just think that when we have something of this sort, that we should be presented with what the costs are going to be and ahead of time, especially if it's outside of their retainer. That's all.
I agree. And again, I was under the impression that that part of it was included in the retainer, but I'll verify tomorrow for sure. But you know, the village has always retained them and always paid the same amount as retainer every year. The only thing is we never used them as much as we did last year. So, but again, last year they did not charge us over their retainer amount. So they stayed within that amount. So
Yeah, if you have other things that are pending with them, I think that that would be an ideal, is to have an itemized list of, you know, what is going to be over and above that retainer before we approve anything with it. That's all.
So, you know, I did find the pre-application form, and it says preliminary, our final design for under project engineer cost $2,400.
So 2,400 on top of their retainer.
It says project engineer cost, preliminary engineering 0, final design 2,400.
that is for which one now?
That is for the catch basins,
Okay.
WC.
Okay, then we'll just hold off on it. Let me clarify that with them, and then we'll just have to wait till the next meeting then. So we'll just table this to the next meeting. Okay, moving on to the next ordinance.
Wait, we need a motion to table it.
I'm sorry. Do I have a motion to table it?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
Great, Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Ms. Onan,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Ordinance 2020-09, third reading. An ordinance adopting an interim disaster recovery plan for the Village of Timberlake offices and declaring an emergency. Any questions or corrections on that? Do
This
I
is
have a
one-
motion?
This,
Go ahead.
just so everybody knows, this is one of the items that the auditors recommended in their last audit that we're correcting.
Okay, thank you. Motion to approve, please.
I make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Okay, Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Morrow,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is Resolution 2021-02. A resolution authorizing and directing the mayor to enter into a contract with the city of Eastlake for road salt purchase for the 2020-21 winter season and declaring an emergency. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
I make a motion.
Second.
And this is $47.98 per ton.
I was gonna ask.
Wow, that's cheap.
I went to state, I made sure,
What was that total, Joanne?
$47.98 a ton.
Perfect, thank you.
Drop some of that off of my house.
I heard that the rules suspended, so Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Morrow,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Ms. Leba.
Aye.
Thank you. And do I have a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion to approve it.
I second.
Berg,
Aye.
Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Morrow,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Ms. Leba.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
John, can I ask a question there? Can you tell me how much road salt tonnage we use? Average? I was just curious.
I don't have it with me.
I
I'll
have,
get
I have
you
a
that.
chart for you. I don't have it with me, but I have a chart.
Okay, thank you. Sorry.
I could show it to you.
Okay, Resolution 2021-03, first reading. A resolution authorizing the fiscal officer to take all actions necessary to opt in to Ohio Auditor's State e-Services to assure fiscal responsibility and property auditing account and declaring an emergency.
Mayor, I can explain that one, how this one has come about.
Okay.
I received an email from the state auditors and they have where actually more transparency and to eliminate fraud going in the future. So what happens is it's links to the UAN system. So if the UAN system, if I'm not balanced or anything, it will notify you as council and everything. So it's more of a transparency item too. I'm looking on down into the future. So if I was to leave and somebody else came aboard, everybody's protected. I'm just doing more transparency.
Okay,
Nice.
thank you. Okay, the next is Resolution 2021-04, first reading. A resolution authorizing the mayor to take all actions necessary to accept Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council, NOPEC, Energized Community Grant and declaring an emergency. Joanne, you want to explain this one, please?
This is the grant application that you received, Mayor, that from NOPEC that we got. To look, I don't remember how much it is, $1,000. Like you can do it for streetlights, for updating, putting insulation in the building, new windows in the building. This is to us, and we got to fill that out and tell them, how we spend the money and then they submit it back to us. We do this every year, but we actually hire an engineer to do this stuff, that part of
We
it.
get reimbursed then, okay.
Mhm.
Anybody have any questions or comments on that? Okay, thank you. Next, resolution 2021-05. Resolution declaring it necessary to renew an existing 1.4 tax levy for the police department, service department, and general fund expenditures within the village, and requesting the Lake County Auditor to certify the total current tax valuation of the village and the dollar of revenue that it would be granted by the renewed 1.4 levy, and declaring an emergency.
This is just asking them to certify the dollar amounts so we can start the 3 readings, hopefully either in March or April. So we can get the 3 readings on the renewal of these levies that are due on November 2nd. These are, just remember, these are renewals, no additional money.
Just the same.
Right, yep. So when the taxpayers are seeing this, wondering what's going on, it's a renewal. Nothing,
We're already paying it.
yep.
Okay, do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
I make a motion.
I second.
Mrs. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Morrow. Aye. Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Ms. Seba.
Aye.
Thank you. And do I have a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion to approve.
Second it.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Morrow. Aye. Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Sharma.
Aye.
Thank you. Next is resolution 2021-06. A resolution declaring it necessary to renew an existing 2.8 tax levy for the police department, service department, and general fund expenditures within the village, and requesting the Lake County Auditor to certify the total current tax valuation of the village and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by the renewal 2.8 levy, and declaring an emergency. Joanne, you want to explain this one?
It's the same as the
Same.
last one. Just, they both expired at the same time.
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
I second it.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Morrow. Aye. Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Morrow. Aye. Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma.
Aye.
Seba.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Next is the resolution 2021-07. This is a first reading. A resolution implementing a hiring policy and procedures for the Village of Timberlake, Ohio, and rescinding previous hiring policies and resolutions and declaring an emergency. Okay, next is resolution 2021-08. A resolution authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter an agreement with Andover Bank, N.A., Huntington, N.A., J.P. Morgan, Chase Bank, N.A., Dollar Bank, Erie Bank, and Key Bank, N.A., and declaring an emergency.
So what this is so we can go, if any of these banks would offer us a better deal or something, we can always go and deposit money there. We actually supposed to do it every 5 years, and I don't know when the last time we did this for Timberlake, so I just included everybody in this. Going on down, later on, I have approvals to switch banks to Andover Bank because of the fees.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on this? Do I have a motion to suspend the rules, please?
Make a motion to suspend the rules.
Second it.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Morrow. Aye. Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma.
Aye.
Ms. Seba.
Aye.
Did you guys want to include PNC Bank in this? Is this like a list of all of the banks or is it just specific?
These are the banks we called.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion to approve.
Falkenberg seconds.
Great, Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma.
Aye.
Aye.
Next is Resolution 2021-09, a resolution approving the mayor, president pro tempore, and fiscal officer as authorized signatures on all depository bank accounts, activities, and declaring an emergency.
So everybody knows this is something the banks, they'll ask for proof that council has approved it and whenever I open an account anywhere. So this is, we don't have this in place either.
I make a motion to suspend the rules.
I second it.
Falkenberg,
Aye.
Cronin,
Aye.
Ms. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And do I have a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion to approve.
I second.
Falkenberg. Okay.
Falkenberg,
Aye.
Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we get on to the reports. In light of now that we have a new president pro tem, I decided to rearrange the committee assignments. So on safety, we will have Dr. Sharma, who's the president pro tem, and Kim Sabah and Nancy Mara will be on the committee. For service, parks, and trees will be Nancy Mara, and Sherry Falkenberg and Kim Sabah will be on the committee.
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
For service, parks, and trees, Nancy Mara will be the committee chair, and then Sherry Falkenberg and Kim will be on the committee. Finance, ordinances, and public records retention will be Kim Sabah, and then Shannon Sharma and Vince Cronin will be on the committee. For grants, Vince Cronin will be the chair, Dr. Sharma will be on the committee, and Sherry Falkenberg on the committee. Sanitary sewers, Shannon Sharma will be the committee chair, Vince Cronin and Dr. Sharma will be on the committees. And for the village hall, Sherry Falkenberg will be the committee chair, Nancy Mara and Shannon Sharma will be on the committees. And this will be effective tomorrow. At the last meeting, I agreed to take on the public records requests, so I'll be taking all those. So if they all come in, I'll be handling those. I am taking the Sunshine Training Laws course again. I took it once and got certified, and I'm about a quarter way through it. I'm going to take it again. So just want everyone to know that. And then again, if there's any requests that come in, if you can please make sure that I get those so that I can document them and record them accordingly. That's all I have. Solicitor's report. Jeremy, Jason.
I have nothing to report, but just to follow up on what you're just talking about with the public records. The only thing that I asked with that is either Jason or I be the last step in those going out. Just make sure we get a look at them before they go out.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Fiscal officer report, please.
Okay, everybody received the monthly financial reports?
Yes.
Yes.
Any questions on that? Okay, the next item is the NOPEC sponsorship money, the $500. Is that you wanted to go to the Village Club to use? Think about that so we can get it approved in the March meeting. Okay.
Well,
So-
I had asked a question about that prior, wanting to know if council could do something with that money for the village, or if we
Okay.
had to give it to the village club.
Nope, you guys can do it if you find something to sponsor.
I mean, with COVID, the village club hasn't done a whole lot this past year, so is there something else that we could consider doing? Even with the police department come spring, I mean, we're all, ask the groundhog, we're pretty close. What about setting up something like a safety town or something like that for our kids in the village? Just an idea.
Would that be allowed, Joanne?
Yeah, because we actually do it, Perry Village, we do it for a fishing derby. We use ours with the fishing derby.
Oh, we could do that from the beach too. That might be fun if it's possible.
Mm-hmm. We actually buy fish with it because we got the pond. So
That's all COVID verified too, right? I mean,
or, bicycle registries, that kind of thing. I'm just saying that, because it would be something outside, you could social distance, something of that sort that, they have to come up and, ride through the cones. Do they have I did that stuff when I was a kid. So I was just throwing something out there that might be fun for our crew.
we've got to
think about it. And as I stated earlier, I'm going to be switching banks from Erie Bank to Andover Bank. I have Sherry heard from Dollar Bank, talked to her on Wednesday, hadn't heard anything back from her. So that's the reason I'm proceeding in that area.
Same thing I got.
No recall, yeah. Next
Okay,
item.
any other-
Oh, yeah, I'm not done. Here's my next question. I have a question in reference to the best truck invoice and the light purchase. As most of you know, I check several websites for pricing. And the question I have for Best Truck is why are we being charged $9.49 each when their online website is showing a cost of $9.20? I know this is only 29 cents a piece or a total of 58 cents. However, every little bit we save will add up over time so we can purchase a big item. Just questioning, on
One of
there.
the reasons is because we needed it. Ken went over there and picked it up and installed it because he was afraid if he had to go out plowing that evening that he wouldn't have lights, so we couldn't wait to order it online. So that was the best available price and that we can get at the time for someone that had it in stock. Plus,
But
the last two they had.
But Best Truck, that's their online price at Best Truck, $9.20.
Okay.
That's their complaint is that their website, Best Truck website says $9.20 and they charge us $9.49.
I know it sounds minimal, but I agree with Joanne. If, they're advertising a price and it's that much, and then I got my bill from a shipment on Amazon and it was a little bit more, I would probably still call and ask why, especially over time. It's probably because they haven't updated their website, but.
The only other thing I can think of is that these two were high beam, not low beam. I don't know if the high beam is more than the low beam, but I will check into it tomorrow.
No, it's actually, I put the code in.
Okay. All right, well then, I'll call them tomorrow and call them on it, so.
Yeah, that's the only thing. And here's my next question, and Mayor, you can help me out on this. This is a reference to an incident happened last month. And this is, I received an email from an outside source on a Thursday. However, I didn't check my email till Saturday morning, and then I sent out an email to everybody that morning. And then you indicated that you weren't aware of the incident that happened until Friday morning after I received the notice. And then later that evening, you sent me an email stating that the person reported to you the incident on Monday. And then we had the person fill out the incident report, and that person stated they informed you on Sunday when the incident happened. So what is the actual correct date and time that the incident was reported? So we have it correct.
Correct. He told me about it on Sunday. He's correct. And like
Okay.
I said, when he told me about it, he just said everything was okay. He was okay. So. that's
Well, I
why
just got to
didn't
make
know.
sure I put that paperwork with the correct date on it.
Yes, he's correct. It was Sunday.
Okay. So now here's my next one. The next one is for council, and this is a reference to a request coming up later on in the meeting in reference to training. So I have this question for Councilman Cronin or Interim Police Chief Patty. When I went to start setting up the business as a vendor, I went to the website to get the information to complete my setup. And at this time, I found an Interim Chief Patty is the owner of this company. So I thought this could be to myself a violation of the Ohio Ethics Code. I reached out to the Ohio Ethics Code and they responded back to me. And they actually gave me a guideline page sheet that says selling goods and services to public agencies, local Ohio Ethics Information Sheet number 2. And it says a public official or employee is prohibited from having an interest in a public contract defined in part of the acquisition of the property or services by the state or public subdivision of the state or agent or any agency of the public officials or employees own public agency. An owner of company that has an interest in the contract of his or her company, there is an exception to the prohibition of having an interest in public contract, but there are 4 requirements that need to be met under this exception. One is that the service are provided pursuant to continuing the course of dealing with that commenced before the public official or employee started his or her service with the agency, or the unattainable elsewhere for the same or lower cost. Also note that in general, the public official or employee cannot use his or her public position to secure a personal financial benefit for himself or herself, or for the company. So I went a little step further and checked and did some more research on this and found out that we can actually receive this training free from the county. So something for council to think about when this request is coming up.
Which training are you referring to getting from the county for free?
The one that your company is offering for $995.
Absolutely not.
I disagree.
Okay.
And I have a very good source on it.
I would like to see that, because if so, then they're in violation of copyright laws.
On there.
I'd be more than happy to explain it to you and tell you about it, tell you what the training is and the reason behind it. I just don't know if this is the correct place for it, or.
I already checked with a very good chief that told me that this is offered.
So the question also remains that, when I read through the email that you sent out, Vince, I mean, I saw the link there for the brochures and that type of thing. I guess I kind of now am a little concerned that there's a little lack of transparency in regards to saying, hey, chief owns this. Is this going to be an issue? Or is it something that you weren't aware of?
I knew he was a partner in the company, but he had told me he wasn't doing the actual training. So I thought it would be okay.
To clarify, because I'm not in the loop in terms of what this is in regard to, so that I can correctly portray this in the minutes. What is this training in regard to? What's the name of it? What are we kind of discussing here?
It is for, I'll forward it to you.
Yeah, you have to send that information, because as of right now, what this sounds like in the minutes is that there is something that we were setting up a business, but we don't know what that is, for a company that the interim chief owns, but we don't know what that company is. And then the prohibitions in terms of requirements that need to be met. So it's completely vague. We can't be publishing stuff like this,
Oh yeah, I'll send it over to you.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you so much. And I was able to find that exception. So I put the 4 requirements that you noted in, but I just want to make sure that we actually tell, the public what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So if there's 4 criterias, Joanne, they have to meet for this training, the question is, does Officer Patty meet any one of those 4 as the business owner, or are they all in violation?
One is the part 4, the exception is requirement number 2. Either the goods or services are part of a continuing course of dealing with them unattainable elsewhere for the same or lower cost.
So that would be a no.
Okay, right. Because we can attain it at a, yeah.
If we would have voted on this, I have a question. If we would have voted on this and moved forward, what kind of violations would we have been facing? If any?
I I say I had the auditor show, or the Ohio Ethics show up at the door at another entity on this. Jeremy, remember this, Jeremy?
No, I don't know exactly what you're.
Oh, wait, you weren't there at the time, were you? Yeah, we had saw resident send it into the Ohio Ethics, and the Ohio Ethics did show up on our doorstep for back. I think the employee can be responsible for paying it back. I'm not
Yeah, I think
100% sure.
the ethic, if it's an ethics violation, I believe Chief Patty would be the person who would be in violation if it was a violation. And I think Jason looked into this a little bit as well, and I think he found the same thing because we were discussing those same items.
Yeah, I mean, if it were determined to be an ethics violation, there are potential criminal penalties that could even come with that. So my suggestion, if council wanted to move forward with this, I think it'd be best to possibly get an advisory opinion from the Ohio Ethics Commission.
This is what they sent out to me when I questioned them.
Yeah, but they sent information, and I've seen that same information
Yeah,
too.
you see.
There's a process to request a formal advisory opinion, where you lay down,
Right, yeah.
this is exactly the situation, and they'll give you their opinion as to whether or not that is an ethical violation or not. And because this one, there is the potential for that there, I think it would be best if we're gonna move forward with it to get that confirmation from them.
Well, if we can get this training elsewhere, or if it's similar training, or we can find another training facility, I don't think we should drag the village down this rabbit hole. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree 100% with Mrs. Saba.
I actually agree 100% too. I didn't know it was a violation. Far be it from me. I mean, I'm not perfect either. But if it's something that could potentially do some damage to the village of Timberlake, I say we should not even consider it then.
Better start brushing up on everybody's ethics training.
In all honesty, I didn't know that there was an issue with in for this class because this class is offered to everybody nationally and it's taught nationally. The training was started by Greg Crane, who does ALICE training and trains schools all over the country. I do own the business. We bought the Raider program in 2018 because they could no longer sustain the insurance for that and ALICE at the time. And since then, I travel all over the country teaching this class. By putting in for the class, in no way, shape, or form am I trying to violate anything ethics-wise. Didn't know there was any issues with that. But the simple fact that in order for an officer from a department to go to any training for that matter, it's got to be approved. The training is valuable training, and that's why I put somebody in for it, not because I'm trying to put money into my pockets. And I did inform Vince that I own the company. He didn't know that, but this is a training that again is offered by everybody. As far as somebody else offering the training for the same amount of money or less, the training's copyrighted. And again, regardless of who it came from, I would like to know who's offering the training if possible, because you can't legally attain this training from somewhere else. So as far as the ethics violation, my apologies, because I had no idea that this was an issue. All I was trying to do is send one of our guys to a valuable training class.
Yeah, and I definitely don't think anybody, and I don't think anybody's trying to do anything wrong, but it's, when you work for a public entity, having a separate contract with that same entity to make money in your business, which I'm sure you want to do the training just because it's good training, and I'm sure nobody had any ill thoughts, but it's just that, because obviously you could see where the rabbit hole that could go down if, everybody on council could sell their own business stuff to the village. Obviously it lends itself to potential impropriety, or even, which can be an ethics violation too, the appearance of impropriety. sometimes can be a violation all by itself. So I think just the idea of a government employee selling separate business services, if we were buying salt from a company that one of you guys owned, that could be an issue too. Same kind of thing. So I think Jason's advice is good to get an advisory opinion, because if we can have you do it and it's not going to be a violation, I think that makes sense. But otherwise, it could be at least the appearance of impropriety. I don't think anybody's trying to do anything wrong, but some of the handcuffs that we all have on us being a public entity as opposed to a private company where you can sell your own training to a private company all you want. So that's just the reason for it. I think it's probably not a bad idea to get an advisory opinion, because I don't think it would be a terrible idea to have Chief Patty do that training. But if it's going to be an ethics violation, obviously we don't want to do that, because at the end of the day, the person that would most be on the hook would be you, Chief. So we don't want to get you into trouble for some training.
No, that's not what I'm looking for at all.
And that's why I'm trying to make sure everybody's up and understand, because we've been down some of these roads with some of these items too many times.
Thank
well,
you, Joanne.
That's all I got.
All right, well, thank you. Interim Chief, Police Chief report. Chief Patty, please.
Stats for the month of January. We had 3 911 calls, 1 accident, 7 on-post reports, 2 animal calls, 7 assists for the FD. Beach checks, I have 6, which is a lot lower than I would like it to be, and I plan on looking into that. I'm not sure if that's a misprint or not. 1 civil matter, 36 park checks, disabled vehicle, 63 house checks, information report, 19 investigations, 3 traffic stops, and one of each of the following: a lockout, phone message, parking violation, property report, scam report, suspicious circumstances, and a welfare check. So that's the stats for January. I do have December's. I didn't have them for you last time. If you want me to read them, I can, or it's up to you guys.
What
Yes,
did you
please.
say between the parking violations and the suspicious circumstances? You said property something? It cut off.
Parking violation be somebody parked where they weren't supposed to be. Suspicious would be I see something that doesn't seem right.
No,
You
no,
know,
you had mentioned property. Like it said, like it broke up the audio. What were you saying? You had said 1 lockout, phone message, parking violation, suspicious circumstances, welfare check, and then you said property something, but it cut off.
Property report, that'd be like a damage report. Somebody may have bumped a mailbox with a mirror.
Perfect. Sorry, I just want to make sure I had the stats in. Thank you.
I heard somebody say yes on December. So December had 1 911 call, 1 abuse report, which turned out to be a civil matter. 10 on-post reports, 1 animal complaint, 5 assists, FD, 1 civil matter, 39 checks at a park, 1 disabled vehicle, 29 house checks, 8 investigations, 1 liquor violation, phone message, parking violation, 1 suspicious, and that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Outside of that, going on in the PD, we are moving forward, trying to get everything going or in place that needs to be. We have the new MDTs in the car, in both cars. They're up and running, so everything's updated there. We're moving forward with some of the other things that need to go in place, our citations, working on the e-ticket stuff, so we can start moving into the same system State Highway Patrol is.
I have a question on those e-citations,
Yes.
and I don't want to really kind of throw the former chief under the bus, but I had grant money for that from COVID that we could have used to buy those.
Is that money gone?
Yes, it is.
Right.
I'm saying is
It's my understanding we already have the printers.
Okay. But I mean, even the software and everything to upgrade.
I believe that I'm having Sergeant Mazzaro look into that right now, actually. And I
Okay.
believe that most of that we will be able to get without any cost to the village. As far as running the e-citations, we're going to run it right off the State Highway Patrol's system, so that won't
Okay.
cost any money either. As of right now, the total cost I've been told so far, which could change, is $15 for 2 rolls of printer paper. So,
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Making sure, because I'm like, wait a second, I asked you money to get us up to speed on it.
yeah, we're working on that. And the other issue with the tickets is the current citations being now have been changed, and we are required, I believe, by June 1st to start using the new citations, which means every ticket book we have will no longer be good.
You are correct. And
My plan is to see if we can order only 3. So we have hard copies for when things go down, and then use the e-citations. I haven't counted, but I think we have somewhere in the vicinity of 25 to 50 citation books in the office right now that are now going to come unusable.
And another thing is maybe try to team up with another entity, because that's what we did at the other 2 entities I worked for. We teamed up together and bought the tickets for a cheaper price. So maybe you can feel yourself around.
I plan on looking into that with Eastlake. I just have to check
That's
on
what I'm saying. Okay. Yeah.
work, because the tickets are issued and have to be audited and tracked.
Right. But see, there's somehow when you send the order together or something, they can.
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Yep.
And then last but not least, I'm still trying to get people in here. I have several applications I need to do background checks. I had Doug Miller was all set to come in, but he didn't get on the list tonight. And in all honesty, if I don't get him in here, I'm probably going to lose him altogether. So, I mean, at some point I have to be able to get people in here. I'm having issues with the schedule as it is now. We did lose a number of officers last year. I believe the number was 12. And they listed several reasons, but regardless, we had still lost those officers. As of this year, we lost Steve and we lost Mitch. And between Steve and Mitch, they covered 10 shifts a month with their schedule, not including mine. So now as it stands, I have 10 shifts that are open. I did speak with Doug Miller, actually just spoke with him today. And it was my understanding that we were going to try and get him voted on today on whether or not we can bring him in. He is willing to come in at $1 a year for now. But I am afraid if we don't do something here, and I don't know the procedures, if it's possible, but if we don't make a decision on him, I'm going to lose him. He can't, I don't know if he can or can't, but he will not wait another month. He'll go somewhere else. And that's a very good talent we'll end up losing. So that's what's going on with the police department right now.
Okay, thank you. All right, council members' reports. Kim Saba, please.
Kim, you're muted.
Thank you. Have we received any more applications or anything for zoning?
No, we haven't.
Okay. So with that being said, I know that Joanne had mentioned that we needed a resident on the committee for records retention. Is that correct, Joanne?
You are correct. We need a resident. Yes, for
I have a resident. So
for the records retention. Yep.
Yep. I have a resident that is willing to give us her time. Do you need her name?
Yeah, we can have council approve it if they give it to, yeah.
I'm sure council will approve. Mary Beth Germano.
Ms. Timberlake, Mrs. Timberlake.
That's right.
That's fine. Speaking of what you just said, that Kim, about records retention, Saturday, the 20th, and I'm saying about noon, I'm planning to start. Anybody wants to come up and join me at Village Hall? We're going to start going through records. And actually, I'm going to put it in the newspaper just in case I end up with more than 2 council members present, just to be transparent in case somebody's wondering what's going on. So we can go through old records. It'll be on Saturday, the 20th at noon. Is what I'm gonna.
You can count myself and my husband in on that, Joanne. We'll put him to work too. He was just informed.
You said you need 2 council people?
No, I'm going to advertise in the case we end up with more than 2 council people, just so people will know that we're just doing retention cleaning.
Okay.
I just want to make sure, even if we end up with more than 2, I'm going to put it in the newspaper, send them that we're doing it just to be open. But that's all I'm doing is we're going through the records. So we can clean up that office some.
I'll bring donuts if we get some more volunteers.
So whoever wants to show up, come on up and help.
What does this entail? I don't want to
time.
A lot of time.
Yeah, time going through files.
How long? I mean, what time are we thinking? I have a dentist appointment, so I have no idea.
I said noon. I'm going to be up there at noon.
Okay.
I fear the snow will be cleared out by then.
And, for what any time that anybody can give, if it's an hour, if it's a half an hour, it's, that office isn't going to clean itself, and we could definitely use some help.
Okay,
So just to
thank
clarify,
you.
we need to vote Mr. Germano in, like, does council need to vote on this or not?
Yeah, we should have that done in purchase and approval. Back to you, Kim.
I'm done. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Sherry Falkenberg, Village Hall, please.
Nothing much to report. Hall rental activity is picking up and the calendar is up to date.
Okay, and one more thing I want to add, we did receive, I purchased the seals for the refrigerator and they are installed. So as soon as we're ready for the first event, we can plug it in. So right now it's just sitting there, but ready to go.
Chief, have you guys purchased your refrigerator yet?
Vince?
Negative. I just got the approval from Joanne because originally she had stated $50 for it. When I went online, the cheapest one I could find was a $79.99, I believe, at Best Buy for a 1.7 cubic foot refrigerator. So I haven't gotten it. I don't have a Village credit card.
That's all I needed was to know where you found it at $79.99. We did.
I believe it was Best Buy. It was a 1.7 cubic foot refrigerator.
All right, if that's the case, I can go out to Best Buy and get that.
I think that's exactly the one that you have. So it would be.
Probably. That's what I was looking for. That refrigerator is perfect. So.
Okay, thank you, Sherry. Nancy, trees, please.
I have a tree in question, not in question, has been looked at by 3 different companies. It's rotted out in 40 East Shore. I've known about this since last October, but since last October, of course, we're all told to watch our spending. They're more nervous than usual in the wind. I've seen it. It looks bad. Yoder, who was the cheapest, said, yeah, this tree is rotted hollow, more way up than not. And Davy Tree said the same thing, but I just let this go for a while. It's our budget. Nervous about this tree. I told the people, we have a tight budget. I'll present it from council. Joanne, you have my 3 bids, and that's what I would like to do.
Okay, thank you. That'll be under purchases and approvals. Dr. Sharma, any updates on grants?
No updates, Mayor and Council.
Okay, thank you. Shannon Sharma, update on sewers, please.
I actually have nothing except I did get a letter. And I'm not sure, Mayor, if you got one as well. It was addressed to you, so if not, I can just drop it off at some point. It's a letter from Willoughby for like their water pollution control center. It's due next week. Sound familiar?
No, I didn't receive that. So yeah, please send me that now.
Okay, yeah, it's just like a sewer maintenance program. They just want us to fill it out and see if anything unauthorized discharged or anything like that happened. I think we're in the all clear, but I will pass it along.
Okay, I'll take care of that.
Actually, Mayor, you could throw it in my box. And I have it here somewhere.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why you threw it in my box. Yeah, I'll have to find it.
Okay, I think this one was actually maybe like sent to my house. So,
On there.
Okay.
okay.
Thank you.
That's all I had. Thank you.
Okay, Vince Cronin?
Well, the only thing I did have was the police training, but I think our discussion at length a little earlier, the last thing I want to do is have any liability for the village. So I would recommend we withdraw even thinking about that if that's going to be a problem.
Okay.
I would agree with that. If that's in any way some type of ethics thing, or if it brings light on the village at all, or any type of negative, I would agree with that. Cancel the training, pull the request. I'll inform the officer, and I'll do what I can to train people on my own.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on, purchases and approvals. We need a motion to approve the January 2021 financial reports, please.
Falkenberg makes a motion.
I second.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Mrs. Seba.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And next, there's going to be a motion to approve the radar training. However, we're canceling that, so. Moving on to the next is a motion to approve the expenditure for tree removal in the amount not to exceed $775. Do I have a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion.
Falkenberg seconds.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Mrs. Seba.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mayor, this next one, when you read it, the resident wants to remain anonymous.
Okay. Next is a motion to accept donation from a local resident for snowplow shoes. The snowplow shoes on our snowplow wore out completely, and it just so happened that a resident had the exact shoes we needed and donated them to the village, which we are grateful for. So do I have a motion to accept this donation, please?
I
I
make,
make a motion.
Great, I heard a motion, I heard a second. Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
aye.
Mrs. Seba.
Abstain.
Thank you. Next is a motion to authorize the fiscal officer to change banks from Erie Bank to Andover Bank.
I make a motion.
I second it.
Hey, Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Seba.
Aye.
Ms. Clapp, did you just want to maybe elaborate on why we were changing, just so I can write it in the minutes?
Yeah, we're changing because of fees, banking fees is the main thing. I want to save money.
Thank you. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, the next is a motion to approve police chief job description, which we will enter into executive session to discuss. And the next is a motion to approve the mayor's recommendation of hiring James Summers for the service department at $11 per hour, pending drug testing and background check.
Actually, Mayor, we need to discuss if we want him at 927 or 1165. What is what the $2 amounts we have in our payroll ordinance.
Yeah, that's class 1 and class 2.
I would recommend him being at the 1165 because he does has the experience, and that's for operating all the equipment and so forth, which he is very capable of doing.
You're mechanically inclined too.
Very mechanically inclined, yes. So I would correct that then to say we would hire him at $11.65 per hour pending drug test and background check. Any discussion, comments on that, or? Okay, do we have a motion to approve, please?
I make a motion.
Falkenberg seconds.
Great. Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Cronin,
Aye.
Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The next is a motion to approve CSJ Technologies quote dated 2/9/2021 for the purchase of APC 1500 and wireless microphones in the amount of $510. This is we're gonna be using the COVID money for this that we allocated for the AV equipment for the Village Hall. The APC 1500 is a battery backup system in case we lose power and we're Zooming. It won't interrupt our meeting. And the next is the microphones. They only provided this one microphone here. They were going to have two actually, but they can't communicate in tandem. So therefore, I found a series of 8 microphones that when we do eventually have meetings again in person, that every council person can at least have a microphone in front of them so we can have the clarity when we do the Zoom meetings. Because from now on, I guess we're still going to do the Zoom meetings in combination with also having people present. So that's just to add on to what we already have now on our system. Any questions?
Yeah, I actually have a question. I can't find the quote that you sent. You sent us a quote on that, did you not? A copy of a
Yeah.
quote for that? If I remember correctly, I think they had tax on the bottom of it.
Yeah, well, we won't pay the tax. Of course, we'll give them the tax exempt and take that off, but I believe it's $510 without the tax.
Correct, it's 510 without the tax. I took it.
Okay. Even though they had the tax written on there, it's the
Yeah.
5 pennies without the tax.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay.
Good question.
So, any other questions? Okay, do I have a motion to approve, please?
Make a motion.
Falkenberg seconds.
Great. Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Mrs. Seva.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now we enter into the public comment and question section. Does anyone have any?
Mayor, back
questions?
up when you forgot the appointment for the Public Records Retention Committee.
Oh, that's right, okay.
So essentially, all you have to say is, that we need a motion for the appointment of Mary Beth Germano.
I'm sorry, yes,
Oh.
okay.
Emily.
Need appointment to appoint Mary Beth Germano to the public's records request as a resident, please.
I make a motion.
I second.
Great. Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Mrs. Seva.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Now we go to the public comments and questions. Does anyone have any questions or comments from any residents, please?
So I did have a comment. I just wanted to, give an update that anyone over the age of 65 is now eligible to get the COVID vaccine. It's a series of 2 vaccinations. The first one you get initially, the second one you get about a month later. I myself have gotten both of them. And, I'm currently pregnant. I'm 18 weeks pregnant, and I still got both of them. So, I really wanted to reaffirm that there's a lot, huge safety profile with these vaccinations. Their side effect profile is actually pretty, pretty consistent with all of the other vaccines that we've had in the past in terms of like the flu vaccine. So after the first vaccine, the most common side effect is some arm soreness and sometimes redness at the site. After the second vaccine, the most common side effects include fevers and chills that last between 12 to 24 hours. But, you know, I suffered through that 12 to 24-hour period pregnant, and I've had hyperemesis and I was completely fine. So I'm really urging, you know, all of the residents within our locality that are older than 65 that are eligible to please go and get vaccinated. CVS, Walgreens, pretty much all of the local pharmacies, drug discount marts, all of the hospital systems, Lake Health, Metro, Cleveland Clinic, UH, they are all offering the vaccine. So I've recommended it to all of my patients, but I'd also just like to recommend it to our residents because a lot of them fall in that 65 and older category.
Okay, thank you, doctor. Anyone else have any questions from any residents?
I have one. I only had limited experience, and I think this might have to go to Jeremy. In 43 East Shore, I had a question right before the meeting. They'd like to know the actual defined job of the safety committee. I was one safety committee for, I think, a minute when we first came into office, and I remember sitting down with Chief Tryon and him and I having a long, lengthy conversation. Like I said, I was only safety for a month, and it was mainly being liaison between the police department and the village and watching the budget, etc. Vince, you probably know about this more than anybody, what safety is, but I know, Vince, you've done extra things for safety. Or Jeremy, what is a true definition of a safety committee for the village of Timberlake? Jeremy?
I don't know that there is a true definition. I think there's something probably in our council rules. Obviously, it's just a body that can make recommendations to council about what to do with the safety departments, and the only safety department you guys have is the police department. So, so they provide some oversight to the police department, but all they do is recommend things to council, and council can act on those recommendations. But I would also say, if you want to give an answer to that question, you might want to look at the council rules on what it says for the safety committee. I don't know that there is any specific definition of what that means. I suppose it would be different in different cities, but it's basically to provide some oversight for the police department, recommend things to council, and council can act on the recommendations or not. And I would actually say, you know, Vince might have a little more insight into what the safety committee actually does. As far as a definition, I don't know if there is one unless there's something in the council rules.
So there's nothing specific on the safety committee in the council rules. Rule 8, though, does list out general committee responsibilities that apply to all the standing committees. And essentially it is just that: report to council, long-term, short-term planning, do as directed by council. But the specifics are kind of listed out in Rule 8.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Any other questions from any other residents?
Mayor, I just wanted to share that several residents called me over a period of 3 days, and they wanted to share their concerns as well as what they feel about having a full-time police chief. I also received an elaborate email that I had forwarded to you, and then you had forwarded it to the entire council. So that's all I have to report. So I only listened to them and I shared that with you.
Okay, thank you.
But never ever have I gotten so many phone calls. So I know seems like residents are divided on that. So you might want to shed more light on it. Thank you.
I have something also.
I do too. Go ahead, Kim.
Thank you, Sherry. So I sent an email out to all of council, Jeremy, Jason, the concerns that I had from the resident. I'm not going to say his name, but the situation that happened, again, it was over our lovely beach key. But once the situation was discussed with him in regards to the reasons why renters can't have the beach key, which we all understand, he understood the law and all, and had no complaints or concerns after that once it was completely explained to him. But with the information from him regarding how he's been treated in this village is, I'm sorry, it's inexcusable. And I don't even know where to go with that except to shame on the people that have acted the way they have and putting the village in a bad light. And I think if something's not done, then I'm going to start naming names, because it's inexcusable for anyone to say anything like what was in this information that I received today.
So where does it go from here?
I just didn't like that it painted the village in a bad light, that the people that live in this village that have rented to these people could have told the truth and said exactly why, or sent them to us instead of playing a backdoor game and then used his color as an excuse. Shame on them.
The landlord did.
Thank you. A resident of this village, a longtime resident of this village, and they should be ashamed, embarrassed, and it's ridiculous. And I'm ashamed to be their neighbor.
I believe this is the same resident that reached out to our solicitor. And again, I'm going to reiterate what I said at the beginning of the meeting. If any resident has any questions for our legal department, please run it through a council member or myself, the mayor. Please do not go directly to our solicitors at all. Thank you. Okay, Sherry, do you have something?
I do. So I also would like to express my concern over the phone calls from residents over the past 48 hours, a couple of which are on vacation and not even in Timberlake, and concerns over things that were discussed through council emails and that were discussed in executive session that they knew about prior to tonight's council meeting.
I actually forgot about that phone call. I got that same phone call. And this person that called me on Friday night, prior to my husband and I going out to a non-curfew dinner, was informing me that he was told pretty much everything about our executive session. And I thought that that was not supposed to be the case. We're supposed to be above this, people.
Yeah, the whole point was an executive session.
His privacy. You know,
Yeah,
Joanne,
anything in executive session should stay in executive session, except for the things that we have to act on in the public meeting before or after.
you know, Joanne, we were talking last meeting how everything will be Zoom now, everything will be, you know, what we're doing now. What are there going to be the rules about that? How do you know if someone's not in the same room, you know, executive session? How do you know? What is it? Are there going to be some things you have to sign, or?
Those are questions for Jeremy and Jason.
As far as whether or not we can tell if somebody's in the room.
I mean, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, okay, so people are telling, you know, I think you're saying people knew about what went on in executive session, and council is not supposed to talk about executive session, correct?
That's correct. It would be part of your ethics code as council members.
It just what I'm saying is when we go in executive session here at the hall, we're all together, we go in our other room, we know no one else is listening.
Well, it's not a point of someone listening at this point, Nancy. This is something that transpired days after our executive session. And this person called me on Friday night and expressed complete details. I mean, if you want me to point out, I can say who, but you know, I mean, that doesn't make me the greatest person. I think we all know who you are, but it's the point of is that, you know, you're not supposed to discuss these matters outside of executive session.
Yeah, and as far as the actual stream and the Zoom meeting and all those kind of things, it's secure. We can tell if somebody is in that meeting that's not supposed to be. But obviously, whatever we discuss in executive session shouldn't be going out to be discussed with the public. But as far as the security of our Zoom meetings or anything, it's secure. We would know if somebody was in there, and we'd kick them out. But if we, for some reason, couldn't kick them out, we wouldn't have the meeting. And we would alert you if there was anybody in there. But
Okay.
we use the same system or something very close to it in all the cities that I deal with. We do the same thing, and it's always secure. So.
Okay. Anything else from anyone else?
I'm just disappointed in how things have been going. The transparency or their lack of is getting ridiculous.
I agree with Mrs. Saba because it is again about ethics and integrity. And we have to model that being on the council.
But I guess since I'm like the only public portion in this meeting, can we maybe get a little bit of light shed on how we can avoid that in the future? Because like, you know, I live with 2 council members and even I'm not allowed to know what happens in the executive session. You know, my mom and my sister take that very strongly. So I just feel like it's super inappropriate if there is a council member that is revealing executive session details to residents around the village. And I think there needs to be some sort of a stipulation or something that we're putting to safeguard that, because it's inappropriate and it is an ethics violation. And our village has already had plenty of ethics violations that we've been on the news for. So I don't want to see this continue. So
Tonight, we've already got a couple.
right. So I just want to make sure, like, can we maybe discuss what we plan on doing to avoid something like that happening? You know, I just want to make sure that we're doing the right thing as you know, for the residents as council.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think this is something that we need to talk in a little more detail in executive session. Okay, is there anything from anyone else?
You can't talk about elected officials in executive session.
Nope, it's got to be done right here.
Got to be done in public.
Okay.
So if
Well,
it's
then-
pertaining to elected officials saying something in, that part can't be an executive session.
I just think we all need to practice the ethics or start taking your ethics training and zip it.
Oh, that ethics training is great. It's just very enlightening.
Okay, well, thank you. There's nothing else. Need a motion.
Oh,
to enter-
sorry, not to beat a dead horse, but again, so, you know, Ms. Clapp just said that this cannot be discussed in an executive session. So when is council going to discuss this? Because I want to make sure we're not violating ethics as council, again, as we have done in the past or have allowed in the village to happen in the past. So what are we doing in regard to this? Because as it stands right now, it doesn't sound like we're doing anything about it.
Well,
I think
technically,
it needs to be discussed right now. Like what happened? No one was on that call in executive session that should not have been. And no one was on the council emails that should not have been. Yet several residents have called several council members to discuss their concerns.
And hence, you know, then someone was discussing our business. That's what you're trying to say, Sherry.
Exactly. They were all stirred up that they were reaching out to us.
it was regarding the police department. Am I correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
And the village vehicles, the
I didn't
cruisers.
get that one.
I didn't get that or
Hmm.
either.
You got a different one. I'm jealous.
No, I heard that too, but the actual call was to complain and then they added on the cruiser.
What's in regards to the cruiser?
just stating that they felt, well, because, you know, we have RTS, Bob works on our cruisers, and they were told that the mayor was criticizing them for the way that they've taken care of our vehicles over the years. And that is far from the truth. Bob has been totally transparent with us that we have issues with our service truck and our cruiser. And we know we do not have funds to replace those vehicles. You know, we've been very happy with his pricing and everything he's done to keep us on the road and keep us going. So we're very fortunate to have him. So for somebody to call and say, you know, that he was doing otherwise was horribly, you know, disheartening to him as a good person and as a fellow resident.
So the sharing
This was a-
council,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just saying I wholeheartedly concur with what Ms. Falkenberg just shared.
for the sharing council private business.
Correct, along with discussing full versus part-time police chief and contacting specific residents who are out of town saying, you better get back here for tonight's meeting, because they're gonna vote on whether it's full or part-time chief, and you need to speak. So stirring people up.
My call was somewhat the same in regards to everything that happened in our executive session. And Vince, I'm gonna go there. and it's, you know, it's nothing personal here. This is business, but you know, the folks that I'm talking about were pointing the finger directly at you.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't discuss what was sent or what was discussed at the executive session. I was sent an email with a PowerPoint presentation. Once I'm sent an email, that's public record. I don't think that falls under the same auspices as executive session. If it's sent out in an email, it's a public record. So I don't think that I have to hide that. And I think the residents need to see that.
Emails between council members are confidential.
Jeremy or Jason, you want to step in on that?
I would say once the document was emailed, that document itself was public record. But any of the conversations that were had in executive session were not. And obviously there's a very limited amount of things that we're even allowed to speak about in executive session privately. And though that document was a public record, if somebody else wanted it, they should have made a public records request. I don't know that we should make a habit of sending out things that we're doing just to people randomly, presumably to get them on our side for our argument. But that document was a public record, but any conversations that we had in that executive session were not public. And again, there's very little that we can do privately. And if once you guys decide on that, it'll be done in public at a public meeting. It can be at more than one reading if it has to be, for you guys to discuss, for the public to discuss. Executive session is for you guys to discuss things privately. And then you would have to eventually do that in a public meeting, discuss all those same things. But, you know, to have the conversation to decide where we're going to get before we take the vote is private, and that should be kept private, especially given the limited amount of things that you can even discuss privately. So I would say that's sending that email out is not best practice. It was a public record, but they should have made a request through the regular channel so that we were all aware that that a request was made and that something was going out, and so that we could keep track of it. Obviously, it was also part of the reason that we discussed not just forwarding things that Jason and I send to you guys, because those are attorney-client privileged. And again, very few things that are private. So I would like to think that we're all adults and can keep the private private and keep the public public. And eventually the part-time versus full-time chief would have been discussed at a public meeting. wasn't time for that yet, and it's one of the few things that are set out in 121.22 that we are allowed to discuss privately. So certainly discussing those conversations could be an ethics violation. Sending out the PowerPoint presentation wasn't necessarily an ethics violation, but still should have gone through the regular public records request channels, because we could have gotten it to them in a reasonable amount of time.
Yes, actually, Vince, you taught me this, that basically all public requests should basically go through the public request email, and then it should be given a number, documented, and then of course, we compile the information that they're requesting, we turn it over to Jeremy or Jason for their review and make sure that it's, if anything needs to be redacted, it's redacted, and then forward it to the resident that requested it. But I think in light of everything, and since I'm taking over public requests at this point, that I think we should follow that protocol that was set up so that, there's no misunderstanding and we're not getting anything out there that's not supposed to get out there. And if there's something that needs to get out there, we will make sure it gets out there in the residents' hands.
Okay, fair enough.
I
Okay.
appreciate, thank you for taking the time to discuss this. I didn't know who was involved or anything like that, but I think it's just prudent that we keep ourselves as safe as we can in terms of ethics violations, given our history with ethics violations in the village. That's all.
And I think too that we all have worked pretty hard, you guys included, in trying to put together some protocols for public records, for hiring, for all those things. So I think let's get those things in place and let's follow them so that we can all stay above board. You guys can argue as much as you want about whether we should have part-time, full-time, how much we should pay people, things like that. Well, those things we'll, debate in public meetings, so everybody will be aware of them if they choose to be anyways. So again, if we're putting protocols in place and trying to do these things, let's do them and let's follow them.
Okay, thank you. Okay, is there anything else from anyone else? Okay, next we're going into executive session. Do I have a motion?
Okay,
Motion-
we need, go ahead and read it.
A motion to
And
enter.
real
into
quick,
executive session.
Wait a second.
real quick, sorry. If whoever gives the motion, obviously read that whole thing. If you could add into that, so it'd be motion to enter an executive session to discuss employee hiring contracts and compensation. And if you could add to the end of that and to discuss litigation. We just have one very small thing to discuss with you guys in there too that has to do with litigation. Very minor, but we have to mention it in the motion for us to be able to talk about it in executive session.
Okay, thank you. Okay, a motion to enter into executive session to discuss employee hiring, contracts, and compensation, and to invite solicitors with possible action being taken afterwards, and to discuss litigation. Do I have a motion?
Heard a motion from Mrs. Mara. I need a second.
Falkenberg seconds. Okay, go ahead.
Sherry.
Grace, great.
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Sharma. Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Mrs. Sega.
Aye.
Do you want, Jason, do you want me to just leave, or how would you like me to do this? Or can you do like a breakout room?
Yeah, I'm gonna use the breakout room.
Okay, perfect.
I believe the breakout room should be everybody but Sunny and Chief.
All right, thank you and good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night, Chief.
Night,
Aye.
Chief.
Okay, we're coming out of executive session at 10:22 PM. And got a couple motions here to approve. The first motion will be to approve the mayor's appointment.
Have to get out of the executive session. So in order to adjourn that, I need a motion to adjourn
I'm
I
sorry.
make a motion to adjourn.
and I need a second.
Falkenberg seconds.
Great, Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma. Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Okay, we're coming out of executive
Aye.
Mrs. Saba.
10:22 PM. And
Aye.
okay. Thank you. All right. Motion to approve the mayor's appointment of hiring Alex Coleman as a casual employee at the rate of $9.27 per hour, pending a drug and background check. And this is for the service department employee,
I make a
casual
motion.
employee. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion, Mayor.
I second.
Great, Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Saba,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg.
Aye.
Thank you. Next, need a motion for the full-time position for the chief of police.
Falkenberg makes a motion.
Second.
Great, Ms. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Saba,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Nay.
Dr. Sharma,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Ms. Sharma.
Now, let's state, we shouldn't have done the roll call so quick. We should have had some discussion on why you guys did the way you did.
Don't we still have it?
Yeah,
Yeah, we still haven't gotten the last vote. So yeah,
Yeah.
I would
I'm sorry, I
add-
thought that the discussion occurred in the hour and a half that you guys were in executive session.
it
Please,
did, but there's some things they want on the record.
sure.
So I would like to speak. Full-time versus part-time may save the village more money, as the full-time police chief would cover the hours not covered by other officers. And if we had a part-time chief at a certain pay and he had to cover additional hours, it would be paid overtime and would cost the village more than just having a full-time chief. A full-time chief would not have to be paid benefits, and that would also save the village.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else want to comment on that?
I agree with what Ms. Falkenberg said. Joanne knows the numbers, our fiscal officer knows the numbers, the mayor has run the numbers. And yes, we wouldn't be paying all the extra time. Salary is salary, and the person that applies for this position would know that. We will make it clear. And I think once again, the residences have voted for a police department, and the continuity and communication would be much better and cost effective between a chief that is known to the people and the officers. Morale would be there, and the officers would know to answer to the chief that is visible every day.
And we'll save money.
And we'll save money.
Okay, any more discussion on that? Okay, thank you.
Hearing none, Ms. Sharma was the last vote.
Well, I'm actually going to vote nay. And the reason I did that is because I do think that there are some changes that are happening. And while we did promise that with the levy, I'm not sure about our annual cost and everything that we're going to be taking on, or what we're going to be asking these, future full-time chiefs to do and pay them what we're going to pay them. And I think we're going to have a lot of people coming and going, and I'm not sure how I feel about that. So for that reason, and also the fact that I had a lot of people in the village call me with concerns, I'm going to vote no. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments or questions? Okay, moving
To
on.
make that clear, that was a 4-2 vote, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. And next on it, we have a motion for the chief of police job description as amended.
Make a motion.
We want to discuss that first, please? Anyone have any comments or questions on the changes that we made, or they want to expound on them?
I think
I'll
it's 10 years, please.
just so it's clear, what those amendments are. So it'll be changing it to a full-time employment status. It'll be changing it to exempt for FLSA. It'll be adding in under qualifications, licensure, and certification requirements that they are current on their OPATA certification. And it will be changing the minimum, excuse me, the minimum experience as a police officer from 4,160 hours to 10 years.
Okay. Thank you. So, do I have a motion then to accept this full-time chief job description, please?
I make a
As
motion
amended.
as amended.
I second the motion.
Hey, Ms. Mara,
Aye.
Ms. Seba,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Ms. Sherma,
Aye.
Dr. Sherma,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg.
Aye.
Thank you. And I think that's all we have. So do I have a motion to adjourn, please? It is 10:29.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
I'm sorry, who seconded?
Kim.
Great, thank you. Mrs. Mara,
Aye.
Mrs. Seba,
Aye.
Mr. Cronin,
Aye.
Ms. Sherma,
Aye.
Dr. Sherma,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg.
Aye.
And just a quick thing, I know we adjourned, but there was one of the residents messaged me requesting if during the YouTube live, there are comments that are written by residents about questions for the public portion, if someone on council would be willing to look at those and mention them during the public portion. I mean, I'm happy to have the meeting open and I can mention the questions that they're writing in the top chat because it's a live meeting, but I just wanted to throw it by you guys.
So I guess I have the ability to monitor comments that are made. I would just suggest if somebody does have a public comment, post it early enough so when we get to the public comment section, I can then relay those comments to council.
It sounds good. I'll make a note of that in the minutes. Thank you, Jason.
Yep.
All right, good night, everybody.
Well, the
Good
next
night.
council meeting will be March
everyone.
16th at 7:30. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Good night, everybody.
All right,
Bye.
good night,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Take care, be warm.